All right, today we are digging into a collection of documents that lay out a version of reality so completely different, it honestly feels like something beamed in from another dimension. It is a dense, strange, and fascinating blueprint for existence, so let's just jump right in. So look at this. On the one hand, you've got an official, declassified CIA report. It's analyzing something called the gateway process, a pretty technical method for altering consciousness. And on the other hand, a personal weekly planner, a timeline map that tracks things like dream seed activity and energetic weather. I mean, you're not going to find those in your Google Calendar. One is cold, analytical, and institutional. The other is deeply personal and, well, really out there. We're going to figure out how on earth these two things connect. So what is the link? What's the common thread? Well, the answer, according to the sources we've pulled together, is a massive, all-encompassing system of thought. It's a completely alternative model for how the universe works, what we are, and maybe even what we're all supposed to be doing here. To get our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll look at the radically new reality they're proposing. Then, we'll get into its fundamental building blocks. After that, we'll check out the metaphysical toolkit it offers. And finally, we'll see if we can uncover what looks like a collective mission for all of humanity. Okay, first up, the big picture. The absolute core idea here is that our everyday perception of the world, what feels so solid and real, is a profound illusion. And get this isn't just from some obscure personal journal. This quote comes directly from that declassified CIA report. It suggests that what we call reality is much more like a projected image, a hologram, and our consciousness is the key that lets us see it and interact with it. And inside this hologram, information isn't just stored in books or on the internet. The sources talk about something called thought cascades. Think of them like streams of data flowing all around us. They claim that by tuning in, you can access information from the absolute understanding of literally any concept. It's like you're querying a universal search engine, but with your mind. So if reality is a hologram and thought is a database, what are the rules? What are the fundamental physics that make this whole system tick? And here it is. This is the central idea that everything else is built on. The documents say, flat out, that consciousness and light particles, photons, are not just connected, they are the exact same thing. Just let that sink in for a second. In this model, we are quite literally beings of light who are having a first-person experience as a particle of light. Now, if you accept that one core principle, it just completely flips everything we think we know on its head. Our experience of linear time, they say it's an illusion. Instead, reality is moment-based, an infinite series of moments all happening at once. And physical space as this big container we're all in, nope, that doesn't really exist either. They describe your personal reality as a vacuum bubble that your own consciousness creates as it moves through this ocean of moments. This system also completely redefines our inner world. What if emotions weren't just psychological reactions? What if they were more like a sensory system? These documents propose that they're exactly that. Just like your eyes sense light, your emotions are described as a way to sense the metaphysical world around you. They're direct signals helping you navigate this new reality. Okay, so let's move from the theory to the practice. If these are the rules of the game, how do you play? What can you actually do with all this information? Well, the documents lay out a very specific, almost mechanical toolkit. The main tool is this 3-step process they call Ask, Listen, Step. It's basically a form of direct telepathic communication with existence itself. You pose a question, you listen for the answer, which might come as an intuition, an emotion, or a strange coincidence, and then you act on it. It's designed to be a constant, active feedback loop with reality. And the most important part of listening is learning how to read your emotions. One of the documents gives these really specific examples, and this is where our normal instincts get turned completely upside down. Fear, for instance, isn't seen as a warning to run away. It's a signpost pointing you in the direction you need to go. And that nagging fearing of, I don't want to do something, they say that's a direct signal that doing that exact thing is actually your most positive path forward. The authors are very clear that this is not just some mental exercise. One of them describes an experiment where they tried to manifest something, and they claim it resulted in a literal physical burn on their shoulder, an electric shock from the fence of their own reality. It's a pretty stark example that interacting with this system can have very real, very tangible consequences. And here's where it all comes together, bringing us right back to that strange planner from the beginning. This weekly timeline map seems to be a practical way to organize your life using all these metaphysical inputs. It lists suggested directives for the week, actions like seed vision or speak from grid, and these are based on the prevailing energetic weather. Now, while we don't know what all these terms mean, you can clearly see this system at work. It's a way to navigate life using a totally different set of data. This brings us to our final section, and honestly, this might be the most startling part of this entire system. What's the ultimate goal here? It turns out this isn't just about personal growth or navigating your own life. There seems to be a much, much bigger collective purpose at play. According to the sources, this entire body of knowledge, this whole blueprint for a new reality, it was all created for a very specific, large-scale reason. It's an intervention. The authors claim that our reality had become, in their words, extremely negatively charged, and to fix that, a process they call mass insertions was started. This involved inserting other consciousnesses, like theirs, into our reality to help balance things out, and to bring this new information with them. And what's the goal of this balancing act? What's the end game? Well, one of the authors states it very plainly. The mission is to move humanity's collective consciousness into what they call the fourth density. They describe this as a kind of fundamental upgrade for us, a shift into a higher state of awareness and perception. But there's a catch. The documents claim that the planet itself, the reality we're in, has already made this shift. The stage is already set for fourth density, but humanity's consciousness is lagging behind, kind of refusing to evolve with it. And this creates a major disconnect that their mission is trying to solve. So what do we do with all of this? Is this an incredibly complex, internally consistent belief system dreamed up by a few people? Or is it what they claim it is, a genuine user's manual for a reality that we are only just beginning to see? That's the big question this material leaves us with.